everybody. We are very sorry for the delay, but there was a decision taken that we will start at 11:30 because everything was delayed from the beginning. But now here we are. I am Ivan Tosic. I am one of the 6 program experts for URBACT, and my task will be to moderate this session. Spotlight on cities. In practice, it's a Pecha Kucha session, if you know what Pecha Kucha means. You have to present your project in 5 minutes. You will have the opportunity to show 15 slides. Each slide will last for 20 seconds, and then you can talk about it, and then it comes the next slide. And we will have 12 presentations, minus Barcelona, but probably they will arrive in between. And we ask the presenters to take out one aspect. Barcelona is here? Yeah. Oh, everyone is here, very good. We ask the presenters to take out one important aspect of the presentation. I hope that we will have, after each presentation, time for one question. So if you have a very urgent question or a very urgent remark, then I will drop you a microphone. We will not have more time, and maybe if we have time at the end, we will have time 5 to 10 minutes for a discussion. So, without further ado, I would like to ask the first city to present, which is Alba Iulia. The name of the good practice is city branding, making the invisible visible. You have a microphone over there. You have to push it. Yes, very good. So, start. Can you tell us your name, please?
My name is Adrian. Good to see you all. In the next 5 minutes, I'll tell you a little story about a little city that dared to dream really big. And let me show you. So, our experience with Alba Iulia is that no matter how small you are, if you dream really big, that vision would inspire other people to do so. We are not even in the top 30 largest cities in Romania, and still we are leading in several aspects like city marketing and smart technologies. This is us over there, the yellow dot. This is the region of Transylvania, and Alba Iulia is the old capital of this region. That's where the bloody vampires come from. Thank you, Hollywood. Yeah, we're celebrating like 1,000 years of history in Transylvania, Alba Iulia being the old capital. But we are a really small city, and that's the fascinating part about it. Because what we do is we change the way we look at our city. It's not just a city. Think about it like it's a startup, and you are co-owning that startup. You're not an employee of the city. You're a co-owner of a startup called city. But think about this. You have 4,000 competitors in Europe. There are 4,000 cities that are larger than 100,000 people only in Europe, and all compete for the same talent and the same capital. Why is your city more special than 3,999 other cities? And that's where comes the startup thinking, because administration is usually slow. What is fast? Startups and Estonia. Startups. Why? The first thing a startup does is they don't think about, okay, what's my product, what's my thing? They think about, what is the problem that I'm capable of solving? What is the big human need that I can solve? So think about this. What is your city capable of solving in terms of big human needs that no other city can do? Second thing, get visible. You have 4,000 competitors. You don't have time to be one of the 4,000. Get visible fast. Invest in marketing. Invest in promoting your city. People, investors, students, they cannot know about you. If you're not Paris or Barcelona or London, they will not know about you. If you're a small city or if you're a medium-sized city, you'll have to invest in this. Third, get good people and get investors to back you up and start applying this vision and start sharing this vision with investors and with talented people. Why? Because if you have a big strategic plan, a strategic brand, a big brand strategy in your mind, and it's inspiring, and you can share it with others, it's infectious. they will come because it's infectious. Don't take 9 years to do it. If it's capable, if people are capable to produce a human being in 9 months, it shouldn't take 9 years to build a brand strategy, right? It can be done in 9 months. So one of the things you learn from startups is that they don't take years to produce the first prototype or the first idea. They just do it. Step 0, insight. Where is my city now? Where can we be in 9 months? What needs to change so that we can be there in 9 months? What are the exact actions we need to take in June, in July, in August, so we can be there in 9 months? Step 1, build the brand, not the logo, not the design, the brand thinking, the brand vision. Where do we want to be? Strategic. Can you inspire your city, your city councillor, your citizens? Can you inspire them in 1 sentence? What is the smart city strategy? Did you make the right decisions? Do it fast. Step 2, invest in visibility. This is our latest advertising campaign. Basically, we, like as a joke, we publicly invited Prince Charles, who's a big fan of Transylvania, to become Prince Charles of Wales and Transylvania. The result was millions of views in USA Today, in Washington Post, in a lot of media, millions of views with 0 media budget. Step 3. Once you have the brand strategy in your mind, start building the dream, split it by projects, by blocks, because you cannot handle all. Split your dream in smaller dreams. Create a 1-page strategy for each, 1-page presentation for each. Call it an elevator pitch if you want, and go hunt for investors. Basically, what we're planning to do with this city as a startup method is a step-by-step way of building successful cities. Because I guess the best news today from Alba Iulia is that if we can do it, a little town from no man's land, and having no money, only our brains and only our ambition, and we manage to do these things in such a short time, any city in Europe can. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, who is the quickest for 1 question? Hands up. You will get this box if you raise your hand. In the meantime, I ask Antwerp to prepare for the presentation. Antwerp, please come. Come out, yes. So no presentation, no questions to Alba Iulia. Everything is. Oh.
I have a quick one. All right.
Please talk in the microphone. There is a microphone on the box.
All right. How many inhabitants? You were saying it's a small city. I don't know where you are now.
Oh, here.
Here.
We're 70,000.
70,000.
We're not even among the 4,000 cities in Europe that are larger than 100,000.
Okay.
So we have an even bigger competition. We have probably like 10,000 competitors.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay, Antwerp.
Okay. So this is me, and I will present closer.
Yes.
Okay, will be presenting Pop-up to Date. This is a project that we have been organizing biennially since 2012. Basically meaning that we look for 6 to 10 shops that have been empty for a longer time. We rent them as a municipality from the private owners, and we give them into the hands of creative startups. Our working area is Bergen, which is a district of Antwerp. It's a typically suburban district with typical suburban challenges. The district is super diverse. We have 134 nationalities living there. And if you look at the main shopping street, it has a vacancy rate of about 25%, which is 1 in 4 shops. Nobody likes this. We do see a lot of creative potential in this particular district. A lot of artists, creatives are moving there, settling there. The project is an initiative of the local government, the district of Antwerp, but in close cooperation with the cultural center of Bergen. And this is an important partner because the focus of the project is really on creativity. And also the cultural center is situated in this street, which brings a lot of field knowledge, a lot of personal contacts. We know where we are working. And this year we also worked with an external NGO that sprung out of our project. Now you will see some before and after pictures, just to make it a bit more visual, and I will just tell a bit more about the project. What I find important in the success of the project is to make a very well-considered selection of creatives that we work with. We always try to get an interesting mix of both services, experiences and products. For example, we had a toy shop, we had a ping pong club, we had a bike repair shop, we had a beauty salon. So there was actually a very wide range of things to cover the interests of different people living in the district. What all of them do have in common is that they are high quality, that they have strong concepts, and that we really believe in them, that we really find it worth supporting them financially, logistically. But although they are high quality, they cannot be too high-end. We really want to make sure that they fit into the neighborhood. So what makes this project a success, I believe, is the fact that everybody wins with it. So from the perspective of the creatives, they get a free learning experience and they get a lot of exposure. It's not only us as a government who are communicating about him very intensively. It also gets picked up by media, even national media, and there's a lot of blogging, social media attention about it. So in terms of figures, there's about 60% of the startups that decide to start a permanent shop after this experience, so we find that a very good result. It's not always in this district, in this street. Sometimes they do, sometimes they decide to go to another part of the city, but fair enough. From the part of the shop owners, they get a small amount of rent from us, which is better than nothing, we assume. But what they get from it is the fact that we refurbish the shops, we make them look much more appealing for future tenants, and we also see that about 70% of the shops that we use for these projects, they find a permanent tenant after this project. Local business profits from it, because it's attracting new customers from the district, but also from outside the borders of the district. So we have very good contact with the Shopkeepers Association, they really support it. And then, of course, there's the neighborhood itself that get a real boost from it. Talking about city branding, the district of Berchem really gets a reputation these days of being a very creative district with a lot of potential. This was it.
Okay, thank you very much. Again, opportunity for one question. Over there.
These spaces that have been reused for this new business are owned by the government, by the municipality, or is the government providing subsidy for the tidying of the spaces?
Yes, so we have a budget to, is it my closer? We have a budget to rent these shops for 2 months, and after these 2 months we withdraw and we let the market do its own work.
Thank you very much. Now the next is Aviles.
Okay, good morning. My name is Miguel Luengo and I'm the director for social welfare area in the municipality of Aviles. It's a city in the north of Spain with 80,000 inhabitants. I'm going to share with you our challenge about the social cohesion in the city and specifically the immigrants. About 11 years ago, we asked ourselves how a public administration, all service with entities, with associations, can collaborate with immigrants to reach their inclusion in a city. And it was the origin of our local network. The name is GLIA, and we created GLIA in order to reach that all important agents in the issue face in a collaborative way the matter of the integration of the people. And all of us know, and you also, that immigrants have a lot of factors to hinder the real inclusion in the life of the city, and it's not only a matter of poverty, it's not only a matter of money. So this was one of our reasons to start with the group, and the other one is that in our city there are a lot of agents working at the same time, doing different things, and sometimes living and met important needs. And with this reality, we get ourselves few goals to improve. First of all, to assurance the access to social service, to social rights, foster the participation of immigrants in the life, in the social life in the city, improve the process of welcome and our community interventions with family, and adapt and coordinate the action of the different agents. And to get this goal, we create this group in 2016, paying special attention that for risk factors such as administrative, legal situation, access to housing, social service, lack of support, and so on. Okay, and about how we reach this during this year, it was a contribution. We made different research, we made countless awareness activities, but for us the most important have been guarantee the access to public service, developing real protocols and guides for people, and also improvement the integration with familias, with a community model in a coordinated way between service. And to end up, I would like to share with you that I think it's worth this type of practice, not only with immigrant people, even with collectives more vulnerable, because the experience taught us that only with a comprehensive and community model we can reach the real integration in a long time. And we are not talking about to create more resources, more expenditures, but we are talking about how we work together in a co-responsibility way on different items. No? And this is all. Thank you very much, and we are going to be happy to give you more information if you want to visit. And I invite you to visit Aviles if someone wants to go deeper in practice. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I was struck by your sentence that this model is not only good for immigrants. You can deal with your minorities, with your deprived people, for example, the Roma and other groups. Yes. One question. Time for one question. I would love to drop the ball into the back. Whether I can do it or not. But anyone? You don't have migrants maybe in your cities, so this is the reason why you don't have questions. Okay, good. Thank you very much. Barcelona.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Maite. I'm going to present the Housing Last project on intermediation service for people in the process of evictions and occupancies that the Housing Department of Barcelona is launching. Well, as you may know, Barcelona is a very popular and touristic destination, although these days is becoming popular for other things. But we also have very big challenges, especially related with housing. Just to bring some data, we have a true rent bubble with an increase of almost 8% per year on rental prices and so on. And mainly we have a very big crisis on evictions and foreclosures and people going to the streets. And last year they addressed 30 cases of evictions per week, just in the city of Barcelona. As you may know, the current mayor of the city is a former housing activist, which means that now that the city became a public authority, this strategic line to address evictions and homelessness and foreclosure has become a great political priority for the municipality. Actually, they developed a plan called the Right to Housing Plan. I would like to stress the word right. It's not housing, it's right to housing. And it addresses many issues and fields, and one of them is the support and involvement of the public administration in the cases of evictions. Traditionally, this role was previously conducted by the NGOs and civil society organizations, and now the municipality has taken an active role, and they are providing support, legal advice, financing, all to stop evictions to happen and to coordinate the work with the social services branch of the department. They are doing this with a strong coordination with the districts, and Barcelona is divided in 10 districts, so it's very close to the citizens' attention. And mainly they have designed a scheme of coordination to be ready and address every cases that is going on evictions on the city. Most of they have like a plan, and the practice presented is the one that comes into play when evictions are going to be due in 15 days. It's like the fireman of evictions, but they have more practices to address this. Actually, this service is new and currently addresses 80% of evictions in Barcelona. I want to stress that they have 30 evictions a week. So they multiply the cases that they are addressing by 150% in just 2 years. And it's not because this is a big an increase of evictions, it's because it's a great effort by the municipality to address them. The name of the practice is Housing Last. Why? Because everybody, or many of you may know about the housing first. It says that the first thing you have to do to provide support to people is to provide them a house. Then the same logic must prevail in order not to lose the housing. Actually, this approach complies with a human rights-based approach, which says that right to housing is a human right, and the active involvement of authorities on local level is a must in order to address homelessness, which is also a growing trend across Europe. Actually, according to the European data, homelessness is growing, is increasing by 8% in EU numbers average. So it's not Barcelona, might be an extreme case, but it's also affecting a big problem across Europe. So we welcome you to become partners because we have a great interest in launching a transfer network. We would love to work with you. I think this practice is very likely to work in any size of municipalities. You don't have to be as big as Barcelona. And we are eager to work and collaborate with you on this. So keep calm and do not panic on housing.
Thank you very much. Here is a question, very nice. And before I give you the floor, I would like to ask these people here, because you don't really see the screen, you can easily move over there. You can take your chair if you want. If you see the screen, then it is okay, but I'm afraid that you are getting asleep. Okay.
Maybe you said it and I just didn't get it. Do you work together with the governance? Is there a plan of social housing or something like that in Barcelona?
Well, actually, the competence on housing is divided between different levels of government, and one of the main goals is to coordinate all these efforts, from funds to coordinating social services and all stuff. But actually, there was a report presented to the European Commission on preventive measures against homelessness, which pointed out the key role of local administrations in these kind of practices, because they were the closer to the citizens and the first to know when eviction cases are coming. And this report was elaborated by the Federation of Associations Working with Homelessness this year, presented in 2016 to the European Commission, and one of the main conclusions was that there was a great job and a great research to be conducted on this in this field.
Okay, thank you very much. This is probably FEANZA, which you are talking about. FEANZA, the homeless organization. Okay, thank you very much. It is now Bari. The word is yours.
This one? Is it working? Good morning, everyone. I'm Rossella Ferorelli from Bari, my hometown. Awarded this year, Good Practice, with the project SPAZIO 13, which I will talk to it today. I'm going to tell you this story under the point of view of the value of the process in every single step. So what I'd like to show is how the process started in a very interesting way since the very beginning. As you will see in the next slide, this is Bari in the hill of Italy, and this is the Libertà neighborhood where SPAZIO 13 is located. All the green spaces you see there are the municipality reactivating in the lately, so you can easily get how strategical is SPAZIO 13 for the urban vision, the yellow spot in the middle of the green spaces, as you can see. So what happened? At the end of 2015, the Association of all the Italian municipalities issued a call for cities to activate spaces dedicated to young people, 16 to 35 years old. And what's interesting is that Bari, instead of answering directly, the call chose a space and then issued a call in turn toward the citizens so they could present their own proposals. So we applied, but who are we? The interesting fact here is that we are actually a network of networks, a collective of 14 different groups with very different backgrounds, as you can see, from very technical to very artistic. So this is basically all the skills we are uniting. We just joined for the first time and took the risk for in this occasion. And our risk was starting from a story of failure to a story of experimentation. SPAZIO 13 is actually the project of conversion of an abandoned school into a new kind of school, or a place where the very concept of education can be discussed and evolved. A school where you can both teach and learn, and you can choose your path and combine knowledge of very different fields. Another important focus for us is that it should belong to the neighborhood and to the whole city. So what we did was not being satisfied with the huge 14 partners at the beginning, but furtherly opening the process towards involving tens of possible future partners and started growing the most inclusive participatory process probably we've witnessed ever. This is what we did. It's not the facts and figures themselves, but it's just to show what you do when you care about space, but you cannot immediately access the funding to transform it. So you just fill it with life and people. And particularly, I'd like to stress the one-day meeting format. That is a series of meetings of one day around the questions, so they are thematic. There have been a way to soon involve a larger audience and sharing experiences and ideas, already with a specific aim of creating activities inside the space. One of the meetings, for example, was centered around the possibility of art to make space public. So when the fundings have finally been unlocked, we invite all the local street artists to join the meetings and suggested them to create a participated laboratory on the building and start the physical branding of SPAZIO 13 with a public action. The visual branding of the building has also started from the inside, where we have started to realize graphic project that will go towards the whole place, 1,000 square meters to begin. For this activity, we also involved young people living in support communities. One of the more structured activities is the self-building workshop. In this kind of activities, the exchange between SPAZIO 13 and the citizens is equal, let's say, so that the people join, offering the space their free time, and the space is built. And in return, every participant learns a specific building technique. This has been pushed forward a little to the pro-level workshop for the installation of the carpentry area. Here, the workshop itself was already a carpentry one. So we built a place to make woodworks, already making a small woodworking school, in a sense. So what now? Where are we? We had an abandoned school. We had opened it to the city and started to organize the thematic meetings. Then, with the fundings unlocked, we started the physical transformation of the building. We have the ground floor almost completed, not 90% as you can see. We need 2 more. As I anticipated, now we are building a school when you can create your own path of education without being forced to paths fixed by someone else, let's say. A school to help millennials acquire the expertise they really need and desire for a specific task related to the real world. So here is our program starting from winter, so please follow us. So this is basically the next step. This is our basically contact. If you came to Bari at the last URBACT meeting, you also know where we are physically. If you didn't, please come and join. You're welcome when you want. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Do you have a long-term contract with the city to have this school, or only for a few years?
I'm actually part of the project, not from the municipality. We have created what we call an ATS, which is a temporary association for a name. So we have like one only group that collected 14 groups, and we have a contract that is like the same duration of the grant, which is 1.5 years. But the city is backing a lot, not with money, but with the partnership, let's say.
Okay. One question?
Yeah, give you a chance to throw it far. At the beginning, you showed a map which had the core of the neighbourhood with several buildings identified.
Yes.
Is this part of a bigger strategy to deal with several buildings?
Exactly.
Not just the one?
That's exactly. That's probably why, because the Good Practice is very young. It's just 6 months active. So the reason why we won the URBACT practice is that this is a huge integrated vision. Actually, there are several public spaces, open spaces, let's say, but also buildings that have been reactivated in the last 3 years, all in the same neighborhood for a very strong structural vision.
Thank you very much. Next presentation, Bilbao.
Thank you. Well, I'm not Fernando. Fernando is there. I'm Asier Abaunza. I'm the councillor for urban planning in Bilbao. Bilbao is a medium-sized city of 350,000 inhabitants in a metropolitan area of 1 million inhabitants. And I am going to talk about a project that we are developing in the city. We are well known internationally for the urban transformation of the city, from the industrial city to the modern service-providing city. And Zorrozaurre is our next step in this transformation process. It's a space that is in the middle of the city, and it's a huge industrial space that at the moment is completely abandoned. As you can see in the picture, is all this peninsula that is in the middle of the river. The port has moved out of the river. Now it's in next to the sea, 14 kilometers far from the city, and we are transforming all this peninsula in a new neighborhood for a new housing project, and also 2 urban technoparks. At the beginning there was the old port area, the derelict, the abandoned industrial area, and also a small neighborhood of 200 built houses in the next to the river. If we pass to the next, yeah. The property of this space is 51% public, shared between the port and the municipality, and the rest is private. And the total space, as you can see, is quite big, 839,000 square meters to be transformed in the middle of the city. If we can pass the next. Yeah, the main problems that we have here, first of all, were the existing industries that have to move out of this space. So some of them they were also closed at the moment. The pollution of the land because of this industrial activity. The need of new infrastructures to connect this space with new bridges, the opening of the canal so that we prevent floods in this area, and to offer a new public transportation system in this space, and also to maintain the private ownership of the houses that we have still maintained in the island. So we want to maintain the density that we have in the rest of the neighborhoods of the city, with a mixture of uses of economical activities and housing. 50% of all these houses are going to be social. We are going to build 5,500 houses, and 50% are going to be social housing projects. And we are also rehabilitating the existing houses. We are also making a big effort in the prevention of floods and the impact of the environmental change in the city, because Bilbao, the floods is the main risk that we have. As I have said previously, we are going to build more than 5,000 new flats. It's going to be 70% of all these uses, and 26% is going to be economical activities, focused in the northern part and in the southern part of the island, with the spaces for new economical activities. We are going to create around 6,000 new jobs in this area, mixed also with new university buildings and also with job training schools that are going to be here also. So there's going to be a mixture of training, university and economical activities. The tram is going to be the main public transport system in the island, with 4 new stations to provide this public service, and both sides in both riverbanks are going to be pedestrians. We change to the next one. Here you can see how it is actually the existing neighborhood in the island, and how we are going to make completely pedestrian. We are going to maintain a wall to prevent the floods in this area, and also we are going to build 2 storm tanks to get the rainwater when the tide is up, so that the flood risk is lower, and this water also is going to be reused to water the gardens in the island. And we are going to open the canal so that the risk of floods in the island is going to be also low. And the new buildings that are going to be built in this area are going to be also higher than the floods that we suffered in 1983, which were the worst floods in the last century. We are maintaining, as I have said, the existing buildings of the old neighborhood of this island, like the old town of this island. We have already invested 10.5 million euros in subsidies for the neighbors to restore or rehabilitate their houses so that they maintain living in this area. And we are going also to maintain some industrial buildings for new activities. This building, for example, is already changed. It's the headquarters of a big engineering company at the moment. And in those buildings, we are working at the moment for new projects connected with entrepreneurship and university activities. We are also in other European projects connected with this area. One is the integrated urban development strategy, so that we build this island with as a low carbon space, and with a new energy system. We are going to use geothermic systems for the houses, for example, and also we are going to provide the transportation system through electrical transport systems. So it's going to be a space for creativity, job creation, entrepreneurship, but also with a big impact in the social part, with those housing projects for social housing, and also spaces for creativity and art and design in this area. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. How much money do you spend on this island? Is it all public money?
No, we are owning the public. It's 51% of the ownership, so we are providing the 51% of the budget. The rest is put by the privates, so it's a mixture of public and private cooperation in the investment.
Okay. One question?
I'm not so good at throwing to the back. Maybe the middle.
Okay, thank you very much, and good luck with this enormous project. Bordeaux.
Good morning, everybody. So I'm going to present to you the Atlas of Metropolitan Spaces of Bordeaux. So, before everything, I would like to situate the Atlas in its context, because nowadays, to understand the territorial dynamics, we must change our way of thinking and acting on territories, because we live in a world made of relations. So we must modify how we describe the dynamics of cities, agglomerations, and territories. So as I said, we live in a... 20 seconds, it's very long. We live in a world driven by networks. Therefore, we are all linked the one to the others. And this way, distance and proximity between territories is not the only way of thinking, and we must have a look on interdependencies and interconnection, and pay attention about relational geography. These interdependencies have to be analyzed first by studying different geographical scales, from the very local scales to an international one, and also by crossing different fields like the economy, the mobility, research, migration, wealth transfers, etc. So, to reach this objective, we have created a new terminology for the description of the metropolization process, such as we have the metropolitan core for the local and intense relations, the metropolized area for the regular and functional relations, and finally we have the relational systems for the other types of relations. So instead of building big data tables, we took the decision to illustrate the metropolization process with drawings, because we are a planning agency and we think that a good map is better than a long speech and big data tables. So in order to describe easily this complex system, we have elaborated this atlas. So the atlas shows the relation of Bordeaux with its neighborhood. So as we represent the process, some of you may be disappointed because it's an unusual representation of territories. But what is relevant are the strokes, the lines, and the arrows. Because the arrows have a specific volume, they have a direction and an intensity. So they show us how Bordeaux is building its own metropolization process, linking itself with other territories, its neighbors. But who are the neighbors, and what kind of relations do we have together? So, as explained before, the neighbors can not only be defined by the proximity. We also have to investigate the connection and the type of connection we have with them. So the neighbors are the one with whom we can cooperate, we can mutualize, and have a common future. It's like a partner. But why did we decide to investigate the subject, the neighbors one? Because today we hear a lot about territorial competition, city competition, and we are in a context of restrained public money. So this is a large wake-up for everyone. And we want to point out that the cooperation and the mutual assistance have to drive the public action. So from a methodological point of view, first we have... this is what we have in our the first scale. So we cross accumulation of actors and factors, concentration of people, etc. And we obtain our metropolitan core. In a larger scale, the metropolized area, we are looking and identifying the origin of the new inhabitants or the students in Bordeaux, the clients of big stores like IKEA, just some of the many indicators we took. And finally, in the larger scale, the national, European and international scale, we try to identify in which networks Bordeaux can pretend to belong. As a synthetic result, because the atlas it's a book of 136 maps, so this is just a choice of maps. As a result, we have many relations with La Rochelle, with Arcachon, Limoges, Poitiers, but also with Paris, Barcelona, Bucharest, Budapest, Los Angeles, Dakar, etc. And each of these relations belong to a specific field, but as now we have entered into the operational phase, and the operational phase is that last November the mayors of Bordeaux and Libourne, for example, has signed a cooperation act in order to make a public transportation policy for people who work in Bordeaux or work in Libourne and exchange every day. So I hope that this presentation, short one, matched with your interest, and as it's a process, we are building this process, we are all together. We are in Tallinn building a new chapter of this atlas by creating today the relations of tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We know that France has a lot of territorial levels, so is the department and the region happy about your big ambitions, or do they help you, or are they a bit worried about it?
I would love to say they are very happy, but when we explain that we are trying to design a new governance process, or you can imagine a new governance process, they are not very happy. But this is because we are a local agency, that's our work to to make people unhappy, no, but to... I don't have the... Exactly.
I have a question. Do you also work with interactive maps, or is it only images that you showed? And the other one, how do you get the data? Is it public data, or do you also work with company data?
I don't have the first question.
Do you also have interactive elements in your maps, or is it just an image?
We tried to make an interactive atlas, but because of lack of money and time, we couldn't. We have some animations, we're working on it now. And for your second question, the data are very, very large data. We have official data, but we have also more private data from our partners, like the airport, the electric companies, and also working on the making us field studies. The students going in the parking to see where the cars come from in the IKEA parking, for example. Now we're building and capitalizing all this information to be able to share it.
Thank you very much, Bristol.
Hello, I'm Martha. I work at Norwest Media Centre in Bristol. Norwest Media Centre is an arts and social innovation company with 20 years' experience of working with people to imagine and co-create new futures, working on projects from citizen-led housing to smart city design. At the heart of our practice is the principle of co-design. We believe that if you don't co-design, you're likely to create products that don't really work for anyone, and you're at risk to leave people feeling disengaged and disempowered. Instead, I would like to share a few of our guiding principles for co-design, which are also central to our good practice that we are here to present, the Bristol approach to citizen sensing. So I'll share the principles and then I'll show some examples of how we've applied them through our good practice. So, number one, start with people. Don't presume that you know what people think and what they care about. It may seem obvious, but go to people and ask them. Make space and time to have those conversations and make it as easy as possible for people to join in. Be interdisciplinary. Work across as many different disciplines as possible and as relevant. Value different people's skills and consider different people's motivations and the different incentives you may need to put in place to engage these different people. Create space for imagination. Create a safe space where people feel included, where it's a space free of jargon, where people feel they can take risks and share their ideas freely. Fun, play, and food are often tactics we use to achieve these spaces. Start prototyping now. Don't wait until you've got the perfect idea. Start testing on a small scale. You will learn a huge amount from your mistakes and then be able to reiterate and ultimately make better things. Share what you make. Be as open and transparent as possible throughout your process, and also make sure that you find ways to share and celebrate at the end what you have co-designed. This will allow people to join at any point and also allow you to keep extending your networks. So I will now give some examples of how we've applied these co-design principles in the Bristol approach to citizen sensing, which is a citizen-led approach to co-designing smart city technologies for the common good. Start with people. So to discover the issues people cared about in this project, we not only went out and did a broad citywide analysis, we also worked with artists to go and hang out in the social spaces of the city, in the hairdressers and in the chip shops, and do a different kind of deep listening, which unearths other problems that you may not find otherwise. Be interdisciplinary. Once we have identified issues, we worked hard to bring together a mix of people from lots of different skills. So for example, citizens, city councils, businesses, artists, activists, people who know how to cook some really good food. Be imaginative. So seeing as the Bristol approach to citizen sensing is a sensor project, we started by remembering that we are all human sensors. And we did a fun activity. We went out, and this is some people doing some smelling in the garden. In this way, we make technology human, and we take away any sense of mystery around things like data. One of the ideas that came up was to case sensors as frogs to tackle the issue of damp and mold in people's houses. We were able to create quick prototypes of this in our Maker Lab, start testing things out in the wild, in people's homes, and therefore gain invaluable feedback, and now start to create the next iteration of a better product. We worked with artists throughout the process to document the process through blogs, etc. And also they created a reflective art performance which was shown in the City Data Dome. This was a way for us to celebrate what had been co-designed and created and engage more people. So we believe that if you co-design, you can create things that people will be incentivized to use and maintain. You can increase community cohesion and empowerment, and you can develop new skills and ultimately create more active citizenship. So if you would like to work with us, we love working with cities and communities and collaborating, always looking for new partners. So here's our contacts of how you can get in touch. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are you concentrating on some neighborhoods of Bristol, or are you doing it citywide?
So for the first pilot phase of using the Bristol approach, we did concentrate into 2 specific neighbourhoods. And our next round, we were also working in collaboration with a Horizon 2020 project called Replicate, which are focusing in the area of East Bristol on applying new smart technologies. And we're working with them to ensure genuine citizen engagement.
Wait, just drop it and then you have to ask the question. It would be better if you would have a good real question. No one any time asked from this. Sorry.
Oh.
Over there. Good.
Short question. Can you explain us how does it work, the frog?
Yeah. I had to explain that bit very fast. So the problem of damp and mold, I don't know if that makes sense to everyone, is a big problem in the UK. So inside the frog box, the idea is that frogs like the damp, so they don't mind to be in the wet place. And inside there is a sensor which measures the temperature and the humidity. So that's gathering the information, but importantly, the frogs also sit on a paper lily pad where we gathered human data. So we got people to also annotate other information to create a richer data picture. And ultimately then, all of those data sets can get mapped, visualized, and integrated with other city open data.
And the frogs change color if there is damp, or?
In the next iteration, yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Gdansk, please.
Hello everybody, I'm Magdalena Skiba and I work for the municipality of Gdansk, but the good practice I would like to tell you about is rather good practice run by the civic organization. This is a story of an abandoned building, a group of social visionaries and innovators working together to make better lives for children who are deprived from their families. As in Gdansk, as I think in every city, there are a lot of children who are whose parents are not capable to take a good care of them, so they can have to spend their lives in out of the families in the foster care. We in Gdansk still have a lot of institutions which take care of children and young people instead of having them in the families. Gdansk Innovation Foundation is the organization which runs several of such children homes. And they came to the mayor of Gdansk with the idea that to make better lives, to make more chances to have the real, truly sensible adulthood for those children, we have to do something together. So the mayor of Gdansk decided to give the building, the foundation decided to renew, and they attracted Velux Foundation to give funds for it. So in 2015, the hotel was open. It is a very, very nice social enterprise. This social enterprise is called Foundation of Social Innovation, and this is a truly responsible hotel where 22 workplaces are established. There are working people who are recruited on the open labor market. Their role is to be the job coaches for the young people who left from the foster care. So they find a lot of, they can train a lot of professions there, which are in 4 groups. Like the first thing is the room service, the restaurant service, the kitchen service, reception. These are there is a lot of working position these young people can train and can work. So they can have trainings there, but they can also have first work there. Some of them can stay there afterwards, after completing their internship, but some of them, the aim is to make them to get enough good skills, social skills and job skills, that they could get a job on the labor market. The project itself was economically efficient from the very beginning. There was no public money involved besides this abandoned ruined building. And then the project is really very well developing. It has really good quality of service. It even got the Booking.com award of good opinions, like score 9.1 was their achievement. So now the foundation decided to develop new programs. Especially important is the program which is connected with supported living. Those young people involved in this program, they can also be given the flats. And this is really best solution. When they get job, first job, assisted job, and then they get assisted living facility. And in that way, they really change their life. That is, they can take control over it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is this a long-term project?
Yes.
It should be.
Yes. As long as the enterprise will be economically efficient, I suppose. The building, the mayor established a timeless use tract for this building, free of charge. So this social enterprise can be located there as long as the business will be effectively, and as long as the young people who need that sort of vocational training and supported workplaces are in the area.
judging on the booking.com pointing, it will be a long project. Yeah? Thank you very much. Hamburg. No problem.
Okay, I'm Gesa. I come from Hafen City University in Hamburg. And I did a project together with the mayor of Hamburg concerning finding accommodations for refugees. We had a very special situation in Hamburg in winter 2016. There were 50,000 refugees coming from different countries arriving in Hamburg within 4 months. So there were up to 800 people a day arriving to the city of Hamburg. So Hamburg had the problem that they were not able to find accommodations for all the refugees. So they had to put them in tents, in empty warehouses, in gymnasiums, and so on and so on. The winter was coming, there were a lot of families with kids. The situation was very inconvenient. So the mayor gave me a phone call and said, look, I know that you build interactive city models. You see one of those over there. Could you initiate a citizen engagement process and build a model and discuss with people, the citizens of Hamburg, about how can we distribute all these refugees in the city of Hamburg? When we talk of this, we talk of finding public spaces and only for temporary building, because we were very much in an emergency situation. It's not about long-term housing, it's really about temporary building. Here you can see a map of Hamburg, and you see that the discussion, the political discussion, was very much about fairness, about equal distributions. The northern districts got a bit more than the southern districts, and the whole political situation was very heated. Discussions were very heated and also very emotional. The right-wing forces grew stronger. Unfortunately, you know that we have AfD now in the parliament in Germany. But on the other hand, there was a lot of social engagement in Hamburg that was very amazing. A lot of people really wanted to help. And the right-wing forces wanted to initiate a referendum of how to deal with refugees. And we all wanted to avoid this referendum because the result would have been destructive, for sure, in this heated situation. There you can see our mayor. He once said, I cannot sleep anymore because I don't know where to put all these people. It was the speed that was the problem, not the number. Hamburg is a wealthy city. We are able to integrate all these people. So we set up a city scope, and the city scope was done with 3 different stations. It's very technical, but I keep it simple. The first station is you get information about the whole city of Hamburg. The scale is the whole city of Hamburg. The next station is the district station. It's here. There you can see the district of Hamburg, and the other one is the neighborhood station. So first of all, we had to categorize all public spaces of the city of Hamburg. We put yellow colors, orange colors, and red colors. Red is totally forbidden by law. You cannot, because it's harbor or a cemetery or something like this. Orange is also difficult, but you can discuss about building something there. And yellow is very easy, and you see that there are no yellow spaces. It's very frustrating. So, the first station, this is my colleague Toby, who explains a map. I mean, this is very much about mapping also, and not all people can read maps like we can. So you get information about the city. We have a big airport, we have a big harbor, and then you realize that there's not so much space. Then you go to the district scale, and then you can see your city already a bit closer, and you see all the colors, the public spaces, and you see infrastructure. Are there schools? Are there public transportations? And so on and so on. And they had to decide a frame, 2 to 2 meters, because the workshops consist of 20 people and you cannot discuss the whole district. And then we went to the neighborhood table, and there you could see, like on Google Maps, really, who's the owner of this place, is there social infrastructure, and so on and so on. Very important is that the city scopes are interactive, so you cannot only come to us and be eager and argue about that you don't like the situation. You really have to do something, and you have to give alternatives. So people had to place these bricks to different places and had to discuss, is this place suitable for a refugee accommodation, yes or no? And they also have to count for a number. They had to say, okay, we put 100 people or maybe 200 people to one space. At the end, we found all the spaces and we sent it to the center, the Department of Refugees, and they did a screening on the city of Hamburg, and they checked all different spaces and gave a comment to each space, so that every citizen who came to the workshop could look it up at the homepage what they said. There you can see the the quantitative result. At the end, there are 10 spaces in Hamburg now where they are building at the moment accommodations. But important is also the qualitative result for me, because it was very interesting that people got to know how complicated it is to talk about public spaces in the city. And I mean, if you're a city planner, you know that, but if you're not, you really get, it's complicated. This tool is very sustainable. We did it for refugees. We got a call from the United Nations last week. They want to apply this tool for crisis regions in the world, because we have this refugee problem even stronger than in Hamburg. That was very nice, and we also use it, of course, for other city planning questions like mobility and housing. In Hamburg now, they will use this tool for each housing project that they are setting up at the moment, and also for health problems and other things. Can I add one sentence? We really avoided the referendum. That was the biggest success.
This is very good, but how can you get the population such a place accepted in a rich neighborhood? Probably rich people living in single-family housing, nice gardens, they don't want really refugees.
Yeah, but they had to accept it, because we did all districts. Hamburg has 105 districts, and they all had to come and discuss it with us, so we also had to place refugee accommodations in rich districts. As I said, it was about equality and fairness.
It sounds so easy, yeah? Any question?
So, if I understand well, after looking in the city which spaces are available to build, you make like a percentage, a fixed percentage of housing for each district, never the case about which is the social level of each of the neighborhoods. They must have a percentage of those social housing in the neighborhoods, and they only can choose, I mean the neighbors, where inside the neighborhood is going to be located the house, or they can discuss about the general plan in the city.
Look, Hamburg is a city-state. Huh? We have about 2 million people, but we don't have space. This project was really, it was about, can we find a space to build something? The rest, like all the social implementations and things that you're talking about, that came later. It was already something if you could found in a district a public space and the neighborhood accepted to build something there. And then the next process is now, of course, to put it into social housing. But this was really an emergency situation.
And the final product that you build is a temporary building, or will it stay for social purposes?
It's a modelized architecture, and for now they say it's from 3 to 5 years. It depends also a bit on the refugee situation. I mean, it can increase also, and then we will see if they also will use it for other purposes.
Thank you very much. Please, one.
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to talk about our Good Practice Integrated Toolbox for Deprived Neighborhoods in the city of Lisbon. So we started in 2010 with a simple question: where are the priority neighborhoods and communities that are not going so well in the city? And to look into these areas and to acknowledge this kind of challenge, and to bring this to a new scale and to have an overview of the city. We integrated lots of information, overlap social, economical, urban and environmental data of the city, and created this map that gave us a glimpse of the social territorial fracture of the city of Lisbon in 2010. And then, in this map, we identified the neighborhoods and enforce as a benchmark a participation for overall of the city to citizens with this consultation kit that was going to local organizations and communities, and it was a huge success because the engagement and the response was overwhelming. With that, we came up with this big zip map, this priority neighborhood map with 67 neighborhoods in the city of Lisbon, so it's not so little. And it represents a third of the people that are living in Lisbon these days. And as you can see, it's all spread in the city. It's not only on the peripheral areas. But what to do? We create in 2011 a tool, a BIP-ZIP program to ignite and to empower local organizations to give them the opportunity with municipality funds to create networks and to promote different kinds of response and projects in the city. And this was a game changing, because we have, in 7 editions, we have more than 500 organizations, local organizations, working in the city, creating new networks, new synergies, with not a bunch of money. We are talking about more or less 30 million euros in seven editions. So this is creating a real impact to the city, changing. It's creating jobs, it's creating new brands, it's creating new energy, it's linking the city in a new ecosystem of social community energy. And it's making a local development based on partnership in the city. We got another tool. It's a local office for these neighborhoods. We call it GABIP. And it's for more structure investment, like European funds for urban regeneration or other things. But it's a co-gov initiative that represents, with the municipality, represents the inhabited associations in that local office, with deputy mayors, with the public entities, and is steering together in a co-gov kind of framework the decision about this changing in the neighborhood, this investment, this decision, the decision making is at that table. In that sense, with this ecosystem, we have a community-led local development association that federates with the municipality. We are just one in 150 organizations, and it's looking to this BIP-ZIP for all the 67 neighborhoods, and it's working with initiatives in European funds. Also, we have a strategic collaboration with a university and created a diploma for students to go work in the field, with the communities, in local development projects, and to learn with this experience. We brand and enhance our expectations and networks. We had in 2013 a Best Practice Citizens Participation Award worldwide from OIDP, and this was a great opportunity to know other cities and other partners and to enlarge this experience. With URBACT in these days, we are looking for, from the networks from the local community, to link with other cities all over Europe, and you can have local organizations like inhabited associations going to Cracovia to a meeting, and that's a game changing also for this enhancing and empowerment. So what we have with this BIP-ZIP local development strategy nowadays, it's like co-gov going to the BIP-ZIP initiatives in the 67 neighborhoods that is creating and forming with these persons a local development strategy. But it's based on local community energy. We call it in Portuguese, energia BIP-ZIP. It's BIP-ZIP energy, and it's a new ecosystem. And we are here to engage you and invite you to this journey. So thank you all, and we are surely meeting afterwards. So thank you.
Was this fantastic program also the result of change of the mayor, or did it have earlier also a history before 2010?
I think it was changing on the mayor, on the municipality, and it was a group of citizens that in 2007 was elected to the city council that bring this kind of new approach, this new framework, this participation, this community engagement, and create the stepping stones and the baseline for all of this work, and it's always on participation and transparency with the community.
That's the key.
Everything is clear. Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Last presentation, Udine.
So, I'm Agnese, and I will tell you about the experience of my city in using games as a flexible and innovative way to achieve healthy and sustainable placemaking cities. Udine is in Italy, in the northeast part of Italy, and we have 100,000 inhabitants, more or less. And starting with the megatrends, with identified urbanization, population aging, and climate change as great challenges that cities have to face. But nevertheless, they can provide unique opportunities for cities for creating enjoyable and livable places for the citizens as well. And cities, again, can play a big role in promoting sustainable mobility, healthy heating, fighting food waste and carbon water footprint, and educate citizens in use energy in a more efficient way. And this should be at the top of the agenda of the local authorities. In Udine, for over 20 years, Udine is promoting healthy lifestyles, and also thanks to the participation to the WHO project. And moreover, it's a part of a playful city movement, Italian playful city movement, to use games as innovative tools to engage citizens at all levels and ages. So you can ask why games? For instance, because they can increase healthy lifestyle expectancy, because the use of games promote healthy lifestyles and increase life expectancy, addressing physical, cognitive, relational, emotional, and a dimension of well-being. Again, why games? Because we believe that through them we can ensure the reduction of CO2 emissions, because we can easily involve and families and students and try to change their energy behavior. Why games again? Because we can ensure inclusion and participation, because it's easier to establish a relationship while you are playing and involving youth, families, but overcoming also differences, so that pulling down walls and building bridges. And why games for elderly people? These are a special target group we have addressed in our activities. And through games we can prevent loneliness and cognitive decline and promote the healthy life expectancy for these people. Finally, we believe as well that games are an innovative tool for urban renewal, because through games people easily can imagine, can reinvent, can think about urban place in a different way. And this is an example of our World Game Day that is a yearly event in our city. And in all these processes, the role of municipalities should be not only to promote bottom-up or top-down initiative, but they should act as a catalyst to achieve a broader societal and empowerment for citizens. And here there is a collection of our best initiatives that are run in the city during all the year. We have the World Game Day, with more than 5,000 people involved in reusing and co-creating in an innovative way the places of our city. Then we have the Move Your Minds, the initiative addressed to elderly people, where they are engaged in anti-aging games, yoga, creative thinking, with the collaboration of private and public associations. And then we have the Pi Day. It begins a little before 6 p.m. on March 14. Guess why? And during these days, students, but also families and also citizens can prove themselves in mathematics and improve their mathematics and scientific literacy. And then finally we have this our flagship initiative about promoting energy awareness. It's called Energy into Play, an event 1 week long, where we involve schools but also citizens in labs and other activities to improve awareness about energy efficiency. Make the healthy choice the enjoyable choice is our principle, and I hope that it will be useful also for the other context, because I believe that it is easily adaptable to other cities, big or not, and most of all it is cheap, because it doesn't take you don't have to have a lot of money to play. So thanks a lot and see you.
Thank you. Any question?
I tried with this. How do you choose the games, or where does these games come from? Their origins.
Yeah, the games are there are a lot of different types of games. For example, when I show you the picture of the Pi Day, during this day there is a competition where people have to remember the numbers that are after the 3.14. So after the 3.14 there are infinite numbers, and the person who remembers more numbers wins the competition. But this is only an example. For the elderly people, we use the rebus, the games to train their memory, and so you can choose whatever you want to play.
Thank you very much. I think we have listened to 12 interesting places, and you can stories. You can feel that your head is enormous now because there are so many examples. It is almost finished now. I just got one idea, a question. To what extent do you need a change in your mayor to get such ideas accepted? Because at least 2 or 3 cases out of these 12 started when the mayor has changed. So, do you have any thoughts about how can you get through in your city even if your mayor is not changing?
I think the easiest answer is to become a mayor.
Okay, this was a good answer. So I would urge then you who are full with ideas to run in the next local elections. Even better, also for the national elections sometimes. Yeah? Some of these examples will be shown tomorrow in the panel debates. So if you are interested in a bit more deep understanding of the example, then you should come to the panel debates, and you can all find the examples on the URBACT website. So I think we have got a lot of new insights and information. Now I think it is lunchtime, but lunch is a rebus in itself because there are 5 places for lunch, and you have to look at your badge. There is a magic number on it, and you should find out where this restaurant is, which corresponds to the number. So if you are successful, then you will get some food. Thank you very much for your participation, and have a good lunch.
Yeah.